There is a lot of information about weather out there. Weather could be its own course entirely, really. So we're just going to cover the very basics of weather for what you need to know for as far as limits in jumping. For students, winds must be less than 14 miles per hour. For a licensed jumper, there are no limits, so we suggest setting personal limits based on your skills and experience. For example, as an A licensed jumper, you may have a personal limit of jumping in winds that are less than 20 miles an hour or with gusts less than a 10 mile per hour variance. This means that if it's 7 miles per hour gusting 17 miles an hour, it's probably not a good idea to jump. It's a good idea to set these personal limits ahead of time. That way you've already made the decision before you go out to the drop zone and see that everybody's jumping and you want to get in the air also. Sometimes the excitement of wanting to jump can cause people to take risks that they wouldn't have otherwise. This is why it's a good idea to set the personal limits ahead of time. There are times that you can push the limits to gain more experience jumping in higher winds. I recommend talking with instructors or maybe even the S&TA at your drop zone and helping you make the decision about whether the winds are okay for you to jump in and whether or not it's a good time to maybe push your limits to gain more experience. Another weather hazard that can be easily spotted is a thunderstorm or rain headed in your direction. There will always be jumpers that want to try and get one more jump in before the storm arrives. You need to be very cautious in making these types of decisions. Once you've been caught in a thunderstorm once, you won't want to do it again. One of the best guides that I've seen in deciding whether or not to jump is watching some of the other instructors that you respect. If they are sitting on the ground because of the weather, it might be a good idea for you to stay on the ground also. There is a lot of weather information available today on the internet, so I'll start with some of the basic resources that I use to get weather information. For real-time weather, what's happening now, I usually go to the AWOS system, which is an automated weather observation system, and this link will give you some phone numbers that you can call to get weather information. For general weather information, I usually go to aviationweather.gov, and they also have a section on their site that'll give you the winds aloft at 3,000 feet, 6,000 feet, 9,000 feet, 12,000 feet, and higher. For a 3-day forecast, I usually go to US AirNet, and you'll have to find the city or state closest to your skydiving center. Weatherbug.com does a pretty good job of giving a 10-day forecast, and there are a number of different apps that you can use to get radar information to track rain and thunderstorms. Let's start by looking at the Automated Weather Observation Service. So from this website, we can select the state that we're in, and then we can drill down to the weather service that's closest to our skydiving center. In this case, let's say Springfield, Missouri, and it'll give us a phone number for the Weather Automated Service. The Automated Weather Observation Service will give us a lot of information. Some of it we don't need to know. So we're going to start out by listening for wind speed, wind direction, and sky conditions for the area. This is what the AWOS will sound like.
Springfield Branson National Airport, Springfield, Missouri.
Automated weather observation 1652 Zulu. Wind 260 at 05. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 01 Celsius. Dew point -06 Celsius.
aviationweather.gov/METAR gives you a better idea visually of what's going on currently with the weather. If you look in the lower left-hand legend, you can see what each symbol and text means. If you zoom into your area, you can get a better idea of what the symbols are. A half tick mark indicates wind speed of 5 knots. A full tick mark indicates wind speed of 10 knots. The staff of the flag indicates the wind direction out of. So for example, looking at this symbol here, I can see winds are mostly out of the south at 15 knots. At aviationweather.gov/windtemp, you can get a better idea of what the winds are doing at different altitudes. If you scroll down to the winds and temps data, you can click on your region where your skydiving center is located. In this case, we're going to look at the Springfield Airport winds aloft. In order to do that, you have to know what the airport symbol is for one of the large airports near your skydiving center. Your drop zone owner or the instructors there will know which airport to use for winds aloft. In this case, we're going to use SGF for Springfield. And again, to read the winds aloft chart, we can see at the top the altitudes 3,000, 6,000, 9,000, 12,000. The first two numbers indicate wind direction out of, and the second two numbers indicate wind speed. In this case, at 3,000 feet, winds are out of 310 at 15 knots. At 6,000 feet, winds are out of 300 at 29 knots. So at 3,000 feet, winds are picking up. Weatherbug.com has a pretty good 10-day forecast to give you an idea of what the weather, cloud cover, and whether there's going to be rain in the area. After looking at the 10-day forecast, then I go to the 3-day forecast from US AirNet. From US AirNet, you can get a good 3-day forecast. So I'm going to select Missouri for my location, and it's going to pull up the centers that have a reporting station where they do the forecast from. And I'm going to go ahead and select Springfield. I can get a good 3-day forecast that includes temperatures, wind speed, and cloud cover. From here, it looks like the temperature is going to be a little bit cold, but still jumpable. But looking at the wind speed on Saturday through Sunday, it looks like the winds are going to be up at about 32 miles per hour, so we're probably not going to be able to jump. And then starting sometime Sunday morning, the clouds are going to be too low to jump also. This is probably one of the most commonly used weather reporting forecasting systems that skydivers use. Weather Underground has a pretty good radar forecast system that I like to look at to get an idea of whether rain or a storm is headed toward our skydiving center. There are a number of different radar systems that you can use, and there are also some good apps for radar tracking also.